Hey guys, Miss Dawn here. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for all the awesome comments you left on my last video. I'm so proud of that. You guys, you guys are awesome. And because of that video, I was replying to comments. As I've said before, I try to reply to all the comments I get when YouTube allows me to. And I noticed that I got the same questions over and over, so I had to reply to the same questions over and over, and I decided to make a video answering that. So the first most asked question was what kind of paint I use to do this type of pendants. So let's get to the paints. I used acrylic paint. It can be this type or this type. These two are a national brand. So it's opaque acrylic paint or shiny acrylic paint, or this type of acrylic paint. This one's better. It's more concentrated. It has less water than the ones that come in pots. This one is better for you to paint on top of resin when you're just gonna glaze the piece, when you're not gonna use another layer of resin on top of it. So this one gives a better coverage and it's harder to get off. This one not so much. And I also use this type of paint, which is a PVA paint. It's the regular craft paint. It's a water-based paint. It has no smell to it. It's indicated for any kind of craft, especially for porous materials like wood, plaster, that type of thing. And it's the cheapest one you can find. This one, I would never use this one on top of resin because it will come off. It doesn't matter if you use glaze on top of it or not. It will come off. So there's that. Those are the paints I use. I don't worry too much. I can use 3D paint. I can do any kind of paint I can get my hands on because, excuse me, because this type of thing, I will put a top resin layer. And that means that no matter what kind of paint I use underneath, it will never come off. So I use brushes. I really like these liner brushes. I have these two that I like using. This one is the number 2 of the liner brushes, and this is 000 of the liner brushes. I also have the other ones too. Let me see. I have the 0, the 000, and I wanted the 00, but I didn't get it. They were out. So I use these, and depending on the kind of line that I want to make. And I'm sorry if the lighting is turning bad as I speak because there's another storm coming. Last night we had no power because of the storm. So I can also use this type of brush, a little bit thicker, depending on the type of line I want to make. In this case, for instance, it's this brush. So there's that. After I paint, these paints are these water-based paints. And there's this one. This is what we call a dot marker. In a case like this one, or this one, or this one. It has several different tips with different thickness to them. So what you do is you dip them into the paint and you do your dots. Much easier than using a brush to do dots. So this is the tool. Then what I do is I get a base resin piece. It's a cured piece. I just do a base. I guess the thickness of it, let it harden. Pop it out, and then I get the piece. I paint on top of it, let it dry for about 10 minutes, and it dries really fast. So for about 10 minutes it will be completely dry. I will get resin, and let me use a darker one so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll get resin. I'll dip a toothpick or a stir stick into the cup, and I'll let it drip on top in the middle of the piece. After I have a little resin on top that I think should be enough to cover, I will get the toothpick very slowly, not to damage the paint, and I'll push it to the sides until it covers it all up. If I think I don't have enough resin, because sometimes when you're pushing to the end, you see how hard it is to get it to the end, it means that you don't have enough resin. So I dip it again and let drop 1 or 2 drops onto the piece. The thing is, I don't like using the brush on technique because it always fails me. So for this flat pieces, I always let it drip because it will give the shiny effect, and it's a little bit taller. It's very little, but it does give it a nice finish. And that's basically it. There's no secret to it. I just create on top of them. And thank you so much for the compliments on the Vincent thing. I'm so glad you guys like Tim Burton. It's a very good news. And you guys will know soon why. So that's that. And I hope that answers the questions. If you guys still have any other questions, please let me know. I will be happy to answer. And yes, I just remembered the question. They are all for sale. All the ones that I showed in the last video are for sale. All these hearts, they will all have bails on their backs. I haven't glued them on yet, but if you buy them, you will get them with the bail. And that's it. So if you're interested, PM me, and if you have a question, comment or PM me, and I'll be happy to answer. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you guys later, and bye-bye.